Viva Las Vegas! Viva!
Good evening, folks, and it is I, the one, the only, and a very tired Wookie. Welcome to another rendition of the Wookie Automotive Racin Ramblin podcast. Just got in from Las Vegas, recording this on a Monday afternoon instead of a Sunday afternoon. And yeah, I pretty much came straight from the track, hopped in the hauler Saturday night after the race, and me and a couple other guys drove straight in, got in about noon, ran some errands this afternoon, and here I sit recording a podcast. A little bit wore out. Definitely got to be sleeping pretty good tonight. That's still got some chores around the house to get taken care of, but yeah, it was a hot one this weekend. It was dry heat. I didn't really do too bad, not like Chicago or Iowa, but I don't know, working all summer in the 100-degree heat in Carl shop, no air conditioning, 100% humidity. You go out to Las Vegas in 100-degree heat, but zero humidity. It's quite the difference. So felt like I was a little bit prepared for that. So we had an all right weekend. Ran 5 cars. I don't know. I'm still kind of confused by that, but we ran 5 cars, and that's what we did. 4 Xfinity cars filled out the field. Got old Stan Mullis back in the 13, just getting himself some seat time. Johnny ran his new car in the 72, and then Timmy came back in the Dodge, and of course Chad in his downforce car, Toyota that he's been running for most of the year now. And then now we turn that up a little bit. But anyways, I'm adjusting some of the levels right here. Doesn't look like it's recording all that. There we go. I got to hold the mic a different way, so I'm just holding it the wrong way. But anyways, Xfinity race this weekend. We got through it. Had some handling issues, or not really handling issues, but some power issues with the 40 car. I had some transmission issues during practice, and we think that kind of led to some of the being down on power come race time. But basically, just rode around, stayed out of trouble, finished 25th. Much needed 25th. We're now within 1 point of the 45 car of fellow rookie Josh Balicki. He got he had to make a green flag pit stop during the first segment, got loose, hit the wall, cut a tire, and that put him behind the 8 ball and behind us. The race itself, well, all 4 events, it was a Wreckfest, old school reconfigure Las Vegas race. It started off crashy. Michael Annette and Ryan Preece got together. Lap 5, Annette went through the grass, ripped the splitter off the car, killed his car. Preece wasn't the same. He had ended up having tire rub and had to come in a few times. And then about 15 laps into the run into the second segment, Matt Tiff snapped around loose, backed it into the wall, and got hit hard by Ryan Reed. Reed hit the wall outside wall a ton. I guess he was a little bit shaken up. Never like to see a hit like that. And then in the third final segment, had a couple spins. One for Ryan Preece with another cut tire, and then Vinnie Miller. And then lap 183, probably the most vicious crash of the weekend. Chase Briscoe got turned around on the restart. Hit kind of that opening on the backstretch where the wall curves inward. He hit where Jeff Gordon hit about 10 years ago, where he flung his car across the tracks, actually shot the radiator out of the car. But he hit the same way, all 4 wheels off the ground. Vicious crash. 60 car hits once again. But good to see Chase walk away from that. That was just a vicious crash. And then 10 laps to go, Tyler Reddick caused another big one. About 4 or 5 cars got caught up in this one. We tried blocking Daniel Hemrick into the wall, wrecked himself, spun down the track, took out Daniel Hemrick or Shane Lee in the 3 car, and then just big old pile up. But anyways, we were watching the ascension of the Watermelon Boy, Ross Chastain. Oh boy, he put on a whooping. He finally got it out of the second out of 3 races. He's got himself a win. Led 180 laps, 90% of this race. He just absolutely dominated. He had a little bit of contention with Justin Allgaier and Cole Custer, but honestly, it was Ross's race to lose. Yeah, he just absolutely put a whooping on those boys. And of course, Ross is probably going to be in a Ganassi car one way or another next year. The 1 car is opened up. Jamie McMurray, it was announced that he wasn't going to be in that car full time. Ganassi offered him a Indy 5 or Daytona 500 ride and an in-house consultant driver coach role, similar to Dario Franchitti, where he serves for the open wheel guys. But anyways, it's Larson's won 4 races in the 42 car this year. So yeah, 5 wins now for the Ganassi 42 car. And then yeah, this just looked like a what if you had Kyle Larson in this car. It was on rails. It was the car to beat. I always like seeing. I don't know. I just always like seeing Ganassi winning NASCAR because they just never were that dominant as they were in IndyCar. So they've always been, even though the big money team, they just haven't had the success they had. And then when I was in school about 10 years ago, they were really in doldrums. So the late 2000s before they end up merging with DEI. But anyway, real popular win. DC Solar and their CEO went on the Twitter just absolutely praising Ross. And then Chip, like 3 or 4 tweets just absolutely praising Ross. He loves winners, blah, 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 blah. So whether he's in the 42 car full time next year or he's in that 1 car, there's little question marks around that 1 car. Who's going to drive it? Looking like it may be Kurt Busch because it became official that Kurt's not going to be in that car next year, or in the 41 car. So I think the 2 favorites for that seat are either Kurt or Ross. I kind of rather see Ross in that seat, but Kurt would be a good pick, and it'd be. I think he'd do a lot better than what Jamie's doing right now in that car. Anyways, and then because it's the Chase Racing Cup. Not I don't think Cup points drivers were allowed in this race. Landon Castle filled in the 4 car once again. He switched to Xfinity points so he can race this one for JD, and scored a pretty good finish for them, 14th. Let's look at the quick rundown. Ross Chastain with a dominated win over Justin Allgaier. Cole Custer, that's his 3rd. He started on pole. He's just been a real. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th pole of the year. That crew's got a pretty good qualifying setup on them. Rookie Christopher Bell 4th, Sadler 5th. Ryan Preece came back from those couple of incidences to finish 6th. Brandon Jones finished 7th. Ryan Truex 8th. Austin Cindric 9th. Spencer Gallagher in 10th in one of his now rare starts in the Xfinity Series. You'll probably see him a lot more throughout the rest of the year. How about J.J. Yaley in the normally half race only RSS Racing entry for Siegs. One of the, I think the Superior Essex was sponsoring this one. They've been sponsoring a lot of the West Coast races for JJ. And 11th place, fantastic run for him. Ryan right behind him in 12th. Jeremy Clevens in 13th. Landon in 14th. Joey Gase, how about that, in 15th. Alex LeBay, the last car in the lead lap for Mario Goslin, in 16th. Rounding out the top 20. How about old Ray Black Jr. with a good run in for BJ McLeod. Garrett Smithley coming back from a blown tire and killing a race car in qualifying. No practice or anything on this car. Finished 18th. BJ McLeod in the 15 for JD. Finished 19th. Big news coming out today is that Catherine Legg will drive that car at Richmond. So that's got to be pretty good. Josh Williams finished 20th. And then looking at other guys that finished, Cole Rouse, his debut, K&N West driver for Bill McAnally, finished 21st, halfway decent for BJ. His first time in one of these cars in a low-budget team at that. Spencer Boyd, 22nd. Max Tallman, 23rd, just his second career start. Bailey Curry came back from a blown-up clutch in practice. Qualified 19th. Pretty good run for him. Finished 24th, and then Chad. And then that's that. Anyways, looking at more highlights. And Mike Harmon, he kind of got burned by his car. I guess they had a heat shield or something fell off on the car, so the exhaust pipes actually heated the car through the floorboards and into he has a LaJoy seat, a aluminum seat, so it was actually cooking him. So he ended up having to fall out early. So hopefully he gets better for Richmond. He had a real fast car. He qualified 28th. He was holding up with the mid-pack until he started getting affected by that heat. That car was actually kind of decent. It's running a lot better than what it normally runs. So unfortunately, it just had those issues go on. But anyways, that was the Xfinity Series. Finishing out the regular season, Justin Allgaier is your regular season champion on the base of 5 wins. One of them was encumbered. But still, he really turned on the wick during the summer months. Has really been probably the one to beat right now. Christopher Bell finished 7 points back, top rookie. Elliott Sadler and Cole Custer were tied for third, 28 points back. Tyler Reddick and Ross Chastain were tied for... Oh, I'm looking at those are the chase points. Let me look at the... Justin Allgaier with a 44-point lead over Cole Custer. He's pulled absolutely away from the field. Christopher Bell, third in points, finishing that top rookie of the regular season. Elliott Sadler, fourth. Daniel Hemrick, fifth. Brandon Jones, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Truex, Matt Tiff, and Ross Chastain finishing out your top 10. That's your chase field. Looking over there, Justin Allgaier, Christopher Bell, Elliott Sadler, Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, starting fifth on the tied for fifth on the basis of his Daytona win. Ross Chastain, just now coming off his win, will drive the 42 once again at Richmond. Daniel Hemrick in fifth. Brandon Jones in the 8 car, or in 8th, starting 33 points back. Matt Tiff and Ryan Truex round out your chase field. Pretty strong field. Of course, Ross will be bouncing between right now the 42 and the 4. So he's really your top independent, minus the one car, the one more shot in the 42 car. But he's the rest of the year, as of right now, in the 4 car for Johnny Davis, top independent. Ryan Truex for Colleague, and they're kind of quasi-independent. I hate calling them an independent team because they are a full-blown uh, in-house, or not really in-house, but our full-blown support team from Childress. They get all their cars and engineering from Childress, so still a real good team. And then Truex has been really fast this year in that car. Uh, Matt Tift in the 2 car, kind of the other Childress driver. He almost got a win at Road America for the second straight year. He came up just short. Brandon Jones, kind of been he's definitely done better this year than he did in the Childress car. A lot previous, especially last season. Last year was a horrible season for him. But anyways, he seems to either get pretty good finishes or he really racing hard for the lead. Kind of, he's had some incidences where he gotten some wrecks, but he's probably a bubble driver for the first round. Daniel Hemrick, he pointed his way to the final round last year, and he's been really good as of late. Consistent top 5, so I could see him pointing his way back there. Possibly he's just on that verge of that win. He's another one with big question marks. A lot of rumors linking him to possibly a Cup ride next year. There was one rumor a couple weeks ago of him being in a JT Daughtry ride, replacing AJ Allmendinger, or even Chris Buescher. There was a rumor last week of him being in a third Childress car, but I don't think that's got any ground. Possibly even in the 31 car now that Ryan Newman's leaving that car. A lot of silly season news. Just this has been the silliest season since probably Toyota. Tyler Reddick, he got in on basically on the basis of his Daytona win. He still was he wanted pointed his way in. He was 7th, but there's a very good chance this boy is probably going to fall out of the first round, just because he's just been a magnet for wrecks. And this weekend, just really the wreck he caused that took out the 2 Childress cars was not really called for. Really over-aggressive driving, trying to block on the front stretch and just put himself in the wall and took out a couple other real good cars. Cole Custer, man, just on the verge of that second win. But he's been really quick this year. I don't see him, unless he starts winning, I don't see him being really a favorite for the championship. I believe that's down to 2 other guys. But he will probably get into the final round based on pure consistency. And that's it. Also goes well for the man who's retiring at the end of the year, Elliott Sadler. It's been real nice to have a veteran former Cup driver, kind of an old school, had a long career in Cup, didn't really work out, stepped down to Xfinity, and kind of revitalized his career. We don't really get too much of that anymore, although we did see it in his teammate in Justin Allgaier. But Elliott was just an old school racer. He was a short track racer from Emporia, Virginia, cut his teeth at South Boston and Orange County. And he's just been a real kind of popular mid-pack driver in the Cup Series. And then he just has definitely been probably one of the more popular drivers in the Xfinity Series based on his popularity from Cup. So, been a good, pretty decent career. Definitely a lot better driving career than his brother. I could see him possibly getting in TV like his brother. He does have a little better voice, or not as thick as an accent as Hermie. So, and he does have a personality that will do well on TV. So, I don't think we've seen the end of Elliott. I think he'll be in TV some way or another. And then here's your 2 favorites for the Xfinity Championship, honestly. Christopher Bell, who's had some bad luck as of late, But when he's on fire, he's on fire. You can't count out. He is the top dog over at Gibbs right now. He is the next one in line for Toyota. And there's a very good chance you'll see him back full time next year. Excuse me. There's at the moment there's just no room for him over in Cup, and the only rural seat for him or possible seat right now is for him to be competitive is Gibbs. Excuse me a second. I get drinking my lemonade, but there's always the possibility of the Levine family taking over the development deal that Furniture Row had. But who knows? The rumor today was that Suarez would go over to Haas, so who knows? And then, of course, Allgaier, who's just absolutely, since the start of the summer, has absolutely annihilated. Him and Bell were pretty neck and neck until about midsummer. But then after Bell had some bad, once the road courses hit, Allgaier just kind of kept on his performance, and Bell kind of fell off. And these two, it's going to come down to the wire between these two. It's just how it's going to be. What else raced this weekend? Get into Cannon West raced on Thursday night, and I'm going to be brutally honest and blunt with this one. It was a full-blown shit show. This event kind of had the chance of being something pretty decent. Apparently, just the track wasn't properly prepped for the race. And they started the race, and nobody could see a dang thing. And it was just a complete dust cloud, and a couple cars wrecked, and then nobody knew they were wrecked. There was just clouded dust, and then cars came piling in, and piled into those cars, and that's when people realized stuff was wrong. And they finally threw the caution. They had, because it was such a clusterfuck, they allowed, or this would probably be the episode that cost me my Clean Lyrics tag on iTunes. But because of that, they went ahead and allowed the teams to repair their cars under the red flag. And then when they finally got going again, they ran a lot of laps under caution, so they could groom the track, and work the moisture in it. Yeah, this was an embarrassing event. Good chance you will not see this event as it is next year. A lot of people are pushing for the event to return at the Bull Ring. Apparently, the track president earlier in the year, when he was talking about this dirt event, he was kind of going back on, well, there was a lot of camping that we put over by the Bull Ring for the Cup event weekends, but yada yada yada. It's like, no, just put the. That's where the K&N guys should be racing. It's that. It's actually the Bull Ring is a lot of people don't really know, but I'm double checking my facts right here. But basically, the Bull Ring outlives the big track. A lot of people who aren't from the area don't really know that. The Bull Ring was built in '85 and has raced since then. Basically, it just happened to be a lot of empty space around it, so they built the people that built the big track or owned the little track built the big track next to it, and then shortly after, Bruton Smith bought the whole shebang. But yeah, it's a pretty decent little bull ring, and a lot of pretty important for the South. One of the bigger known short tracks in the South American Southwest. It's just a shame for whatever reason we're not racing there in K&N. It's really where K&N West, they haven't really raced there in a real long time. It's probably been like 2010 or something like that since we've seen K&N at yeah, nothing really popping up. But yeah. But anyways, Haley Deegan got her first career pole. A lot of pressure on her, and then still came back, finished second. It was kind of a close battle. Cole Rouse, or Derek Cross, Christopher Bell, and driving an extra McAnally car, and then Sheldon Creed, who went on the win for Matt Levine in his team, their first career win, I believe. And Levine himself, the team owner, finished 9th. But anyways, Sheldon Creed won. Haley Deegan really got a lot of eyes on her. She finished second early in the year at Douglas County, I believe it was. But a lot of people, I kind of dismissed it because it was only like 13 cars in that field. So kind of a real good, she had a lot of eyes on her and really kind of made a claim for her as a driver. You'll probably see her in ARCA and trucks in a part-time role next year. Yeah, I think she's probably got a brighter future than Natalie Decker. That's just my personal opinion. She's got a famous father who's very well known in the motorsports world, who's got a lot of power, sponsorship behind himself. So I think I think she's kind of done a little more in her career than Decker has. Decker's just been really disappointing in that Venturini ride. Meanwhile, Haley is doing as expected, probably turning a lot of heads like, hey, she's probably, yeah, she's doing what's to be expected. She's done everything but win in the McAnally car. So, good for her. Derek Thorne finished 3rd. Cole Keats, part-time rookie driver for Jefferson Pitts, finished 7th. Brendan Gowan came out of partial retirement, run for McAnally, gathered up his championship K&N West team that he had he drove for McAnally back in the day. They crewed his car. He finished 5th. Cole Rouse 6th. Trevor Huddleston driving for Brancati was the top steel body car. Just for this race, they allowed steel body cars to come back from K&N. They haven't allowed them since the new style composite bodies, but because everyone's got to get cars get tore up, they allowed the steel bodies back. And then 5-Star kind of threw in a little incentive. The best finished in steel body car would get a brand new free body, ARCA / K&N style COT body, and Huddleston got that for his team. Ryan Partridge 8th, Matt Levine 9th, and then Christopher Bell rounded up the top 10. Had a couple of withdraws. Next Gen Motorsports, they were going to come out here with a car. They chose not to. Instead, are focusing on their efforts for New Hampshire in the K&N East. And Obaika tried coming back. Had South African driver Arno Koch. I hope that's how you spell his name. But apparently, they paid to go lease a car from an existing team.
the car wasn't ready. They couldn't get the car through tech, and they had to withdraw. And the saga of Biker racing continues. Meanwhile, they got a bunch of cup cars from BK Racing sitting outside of their shop at Mooresville, so there is that. But looking at the point standings, their schedule's getting ready to finish up. If I bring up they got 3 races left. At the end of the month, they race at Meridian up in Idaho, little tight quarter mile, and then they go do another quarter mile over at All American Speedway in California, and then they finish out the year at the end of October at the fantastic Kern County Raceway Park in Bakersfield, California. That is definitely a crown jewel track. They built a fantastic track. It's just only a matter of time. There's been a lot of talk about tracks making push for NASCAR events like the Fairgrounds Speedway in Memphis and Rockingham. Kern County is definitely an event, a track that would be perfect for trucks. The Southwest needs a place like this to do well, and a big event like a truck race. Basically, 3 events left in their season. Derek Thorne now a 31-point lead over teammate Ryan Partridge, just absolutely starting to run away. Or no, Derek Thorne's a Ducati driver. No. Yeah, I'm tripping over. I thought a McAnally driver, but I'm tripping over my words. I'm tired. But Derek Thorne absolutely running away with it from his teammate Ryan Partridge, is 31 points back. That's pretty big in this current points format. That's all, pretty much a full field or almost a full race. Cole Rouse third, Derek Kraus fourth, and then Trevor Huddleston's moved up to 5th in the third Ducati ride. Haley Deegan 6th. Coley Vanderwall unfortunately got caught up in that cluster heck in the start, but he drops to 7th in points. Matt Levine 8th. And how about Takuma Koga, Japanese driver, running for John Krebs, 9th in points, and then old veteran Todd Souza in 10th in points. What else we got? We had ARCA Saturday night in Salem. Fantastic track. Just old school, high bank, 35 degrees of banking, 40-year-old asphalt, tough track. And then the Southern Indiana fans just pack the place every year. Crown jewel event for ARCA. Really, this is a track that really needs more eyes on it. It was a damn shame that Winchester got taken off the schedule this year. Hopefully they gets back on for next year. But Salem is pretty much the Darlington of the ARCA, and they've been doing some last couple of years. Excuse me, that was a burp. Kind of doing their own throwback weekend because of it. All 3 MDM entries ran throwback schemes. Chase Purdy ran a throwback scheme to his crew chief, Mark McFarland. A lot of people don't remember. McFarland ran... he himself was a big name in short track racing, but late model stock driver, won a lot of races back in the day, in the 90s and early 2000s. He was Junior Motorsports' first driver in the 88 Navy entry. So they ran a throwback to him. Harrison Burton, I believe, ran a throwback to his father. I don't know which car. I think it was one of Jeff's old Bush cars from the late 80s, early 90s. And then Sheldon Creed. This was probably the one of the best throwbacks of the whole year. They ran Hardy's came back to the team. Lauren Rainier is still still works with the team very closely and had a relationship with the fast food company, and they ran a throwback to Rainier's old or his father's old 28 car that Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison drove. Fantastic looking car. Chandler Smith dominated, led all but one lap. He should have won this race in the spring, and he won it now in the fall. He's turned into a good little driver. Definitely been. This is now win number 2 of the year. Definitely kind of making a claim for himself. You'll probably see him in a truck pretty quickly. He's 16, so yeah, he'll probably be in a truck part-time. He'll probably be in a KBM truck. Gus Dean, the only other driver to lead a lap, finished second. Good for him. He's kind of slowly starting to get on it this year. He got that first win up in Elko. Chase Purdy finished third. Sheldon Creed fourth. Travis Braden, that team's really started quietly turning on the short tracks. Braden himself is a short track ace. Probably one of the top super late drivers in the Midwest. He finished fifth. Harrison sixth. Christian Ecke seventh. And Natalie Decker on the Decker watch finishes eighth. Last car in the lead lap. And then typical Salem fashion, it's just attrition. Riley Herbst finished 2 laps down eighth. Will Kimmel coming back in a kind of a rare start for him the last couple years. But he finished 10th. Joe Graff Jr. caught up in a crash, finished 11th. Mike Basham, Daryl's son. Those Bashams love Salem and Winchester, and they always seem to do a little bit better there than anywhere else. They're local boys, and Mike avoided trouble and finished 12th. Baden Stewart, that's a name I don't recognize. Apparently a local driver. Finished running Kimmel's number at least. Finished 13th. Old Tyler Hill in his second career start. People don't know he's Timmy Hill's younger brother. Tyler ran Berlin last month, and he's running this event. Finished 14th in the second B entry for Hillenberg. Stayed out of trouble. Finished 14th. Good for him. Jack Dossie the third running. He looks like he got some damage. He finished 7th. And then there was the whole Michael Self, Zane Smith deal. Apparently, Self had gotten into Zane earlier in the race. Zane ended up with some damage. He went back out on the track and waited on Self and dive bombed in the corner and completely took out Self's car. Just dive bombed the corner, dumped Self backed it into the wall, rear clipped the car. This is coming from the kid that was so critical of Joe Graff at Berlin for getting into him. Kind of roughing him up for the win. Although that was kind of a racing clean deal. Now, Graff's hit on Chandler Smith. The previous green-white checkers run, that was a little dirty, but the line was there, he took it, and they beat and banged, and classic short track finish. And Zane was very critical on Twitter. And yeah, and then he did this deal, and apparently was kind of proud of it on Twitter. So apparently he got rightfully parked on this deal. But what are you gonna do? He's, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure he's related to. He's like Jim Smith's grandson or nephew or something like that. Jimmy Smith, who used to own Ultra Motorsports in the truck series. So yeah, Zane comes from a little bit of money. But basically, that was the whole Salem. Apparently, another barn burner. Unfortunately, it wasn't televised live this year, so. Also racing Saturday night. F1 was down Singapore. I really got nothing on this one. I didn't see any highlights or anything like that. Lewis Hamilton won over Max Verstappen. Sebastian Vettel finished third. Apparently on the start, Esteban Ocon got tagged by his teammate Sergio Perez, who got tagged by Roman Grosjean. Ocon ended up in the wall, and then Grosjean proceeded to hold up traffic trying to race traffic and held up the leaders, so got himself some. But anyways, that was Singapore. Let's see, what does Singapore run next? Or was that one run next? Well, I'll do that at the end. But anyways, V8 Supercars ran their annual throwback weekend at Sandown, the first of the 3 endurance races. And this was a complete, I didn't see anything out of this one, and this was a complete 888 smackdown. 1, 2, 3, 159 and 161 laps, led by the one car of Jamie Whincup and Paul Dumbrell. Ben Gisbergen and Ola Balmer 9th, and then Craig Lowndes and Steve Riches 3rd. Scott McLaughlin unfortunately finished 4th and continued to lose points. Only 2 cautions, so that was kind of apparently the 78 car Simona de Silvestro blew an engine, and then the 18 car that had Jason Bright and Lee Holdsworth went off. Had to throw the caution. Only 2 cautions. Pretty clean race this year. Last year was kind of a Wreckfest. It had that scary crash in qualifying. Guy got into the tire barrier and flipped, and that was vicious. Ben Gisbergen, 55-point lead. Now a 55-point lead over McLaughlin. Whincup still 338 points back, but if he keeps up the endurance races, if he keeps up this pace, he'll probably get back in it. And then everybody else is kind of out of it. Craig Lowndes, Dave Reynolds, Fabian Coulthard, Rick Kelly with top Toyota, or top Nissan, probably the last year of the Nissans as they pull in their support this year. It's kind of sad. I liked seeing the extra makes, and they were the last one, and they put the most effort, and unfortunately it's come to an end. Kind of sad about that deal. And we got the old Cup race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Everyone was kind of worried about this one. Oh no, it's gonna be boring. Yeah, it was hot. And I also forgot the truck race. But Grant Enfinger, it turned into a Wreckfest at the end of the race. Grant Enfinger won over, or how about Grant? Nice to see him finally get a win for Thor Sport. But Grant wins over Johnny Sauter, Justin Haley, Ben Rhodes, Matt Crafton. Ross Chastain and the Jay Robinson truck finished 7th, really strong. Austin Terrio and his probably first major start of the year, running for Steve Lane in the new All Out Motorsports, or it was On Point Motorsports, I believe it's called. They ran Bristol with Scott Legacy Jr. Terrio finished 8th with him. Austin Wayne Self, solid 9th place. Chris Eggleston, 10th. Brett Moffitt, unfortunately, probably had the race-winning truck, but then had fuel pressure issues on the final green-white checkers. Finished 11th. And then old Jennifer Jo Cobb finishing 12th. There was 38 entries and ended up 3 withdrawals, but only 1 of them made it to the track. Harmon and Beaver did not make it to the track. The 0 truck saw the entry list and did not. But anyways, Cup race, I'm running out of steam. Let me get another drink. My lemonade. Refreshing. Well, after the spring race, everyone thought this was going to be a snooze fest, and it really wasn't. It was hot, and it ended up. Same thing happened at Chicago. It was really hot then, and these cars just seemed to race really good on the hot asphalt. It just
Very much of a Wreckfest. Couple right front tires. Most notably,
Kevin Harvick blew a right front, hit the outside retaining wall, got rear-ended by Eric Jones. He was very critical of the tire. But after that, it just kind of turned into a
survival of the fittest. Like 12 out of the 16 chase drivers had some sort of damage or had an issue during the race. Old Brad Keselowski kind of came on strong there. Was one to beat at the end, and third straight win for him. That team has really, really come on strong. Quietly made themselves a favorite for the champion. Kind of putting themselves number 4 in the Big Four, 4 with the Big Three, as Harvick getting a wreck. And Keselowski's just really kind of nice. They struggled for a lot of the year, so it's kind of nice to see them finally they got the momentum on their side. Hopefully they can keep it up. Kyle Larson finished second. Martin Truex Jr. finished third. He led the most laps. Joey Logano finished fourth. He led a lot of laps too. All 3 Penske cars in the top 5. Good for them. Ryan Blaney in fifth. Eric Almirola, 6th. Kyle Busch came back from a late spin. Got very lucky he didn't rip the nose off the car. Finished 7th. Daniel Suarez finishing 8th. Hot rumor today is him going to the 41 car at Haas. Gene Haas has admitted that he has basically said that we brought in Kurt Busch to win a championship. That did not happen, and we have talked to Daniel Suarez. There is that. Ryan Newman, who's was also announced this weekend, who's out of the 31 car for next year. A lot of questions. The rumor was him possibly going to the 6 car of all places. So, because it was also announced that Trevor Bayne was out of that car for next year. It was just this is by far the silly. It's only gonna get sillier. Yeah, he finished 9th. Paul Menard, came back hit some debris earlier in the race, but came back to finish 10th. So all 4 Penske cars in the top 10, even though technically the 21 is Wood Brothers entry, but everyone knows that car is put together in the Penske shop. And how about Regan Smith filling in for Casey Kane, finishing 12th? And then because of the attrition, it became kind of a good race for the underdogs. Corey LaJoie finished 16th for TriStar. J.J. Yaley in the I guess it's a front row entry now. I don't got all the details on this deal, but Racing Reference has this listed as Bob Jenkins as the owner now. But he finished 17th. By far, probably the best run that car's had all year. Yeah, JJ finished 18th at Daytona. And then came back and finished 17th at Las Vegas. So, there was that. Landon Castle, last car in the lead lap for Starcom, finished 18th. That team's best finish in a long time since Landon came aboard. His first 2 races where he finished 21st and 20th. And then they've just kind of had some bad luck in that hard crash at Indianapolis last week. So, good for them. And then Ross Chastain, running for Jay Robinson, quietly finished 20th for his best career finish. And capping off a really good weekend for Ross. And we were probably going to see him in a Cup ride for next year. And IndyCar. One more race that I got to go over. Their last race of the year, it was Sonoma. Apparently, it's kind of single file. Ryan Hunter-Reay led almost flag to flag, 80 out of 85 laps. Started on pole. Scott Dixon finished second. Of course, won the championship. Number 5. now ties him for most all time with AJ Foyt. Scott ended up finishing 57 points ahead of Alexander Rossi, who had probably the worst kind of weekend. He ended up getting into someone on the start of the race, tore his wing off, had starting to come back in, fix that, and came up, finished 7th, but there was nothing he could have done at that point. Will Power finished 3rd, Simon Pagino 4th, Marco Andretti with quietly a good finish 5th, Sebastian Bourdais, old Seabass, in the Dale Coyne entry finished 6th, then Rossi, Joseph Newgarden in 8th, Patricio O'Ward, the Mexican driver, coming off his championship season in Indy Lights, making his first career start in a kind of a tryout role for Hardin Racing. In their second entry, the 8 car, that was kind of they had his Indy Lights team actually kind of helping field that car for Hardin. He finished 9th, Ed Jones 10th. Look at that. Notables, we had this kind of an event that kind of brings up, because it's the last race of the year, it brings out these part-timers, drivers trying to make a stake from themselves for next year. Pietro Fittipaldi finished 19th for Coyne. Jack Harvey running for Michael Shank with Schmidt Peterson, 17th. Colton Herter kind of struggled. He was the other he finished 2nd in points, and he's kind of been, because he's Brian Herter's son, kind of been the other top prospect, but he kind of didn't do nearly as good as Pato. So you'll probably see Pato in a Hardin entry for next year. And then that was it. Scott Dixon, the top 10 of the points that finish out the year. Scott Dixon, Alexander Rossi, Will Power, Reiner Hunter-Ray, Joseph Newgarden, Simon Pagino, Sebastian Bourdais, Graham Rahal, and Marco Andretti tied for 8th. Then James Hinchcliffe tied for 10th with his teammate rookie Robert Wickens. Get well. He finally made a public message for all his fans and all the racing fans, and he's got a long road ahead of him. So, anyways, and that's the season, the IndyCar next year. Looking at possibly 28 full-time entries next year. Fucking effing crazy. Sorry I'm dropping a lot of F-bombs and shits this podcast. Sorry for all the young ears out there, but I am tired and words are becoming hard, and I'm just going to the lowest common denominator right now. Looking over the IndyCar potential. I'm just on Wikipedia looking at their potential entries for next year. The 10 car is still a question mark right now. Maybe Felix Rosenquist. The 19 car, Dale Coyne, is kind of a question mark. I really want to see Pietro Fittipaldi in that car full time, but it's all dependent on sponsorship. The 10 car or the 20 car for Ed Carpenter. I don't think that Jordan King's back there next year. Hardin, the big question mark. Is that gonna be a 2 car? Is that gonna be the McLaren deal? Basically, what's looking like is that this will be a quasi Andretti or Andretti supported team, but they will run the Chevrolet engines. Pato O'Ward in 1 car and Fernando Alonso in the 2nd car. Actually, a very fantastic lineup. Pato just absolutely really impressed this weekend in that second Hardin entry. So good for him. Juncos kind of shifted to a part-time schedule, possibly 2 cars for next year. The Michael Shank Racing with Jack Harvey, they will be back minimum of 6 races. Expected to run up to 10. And then looking at that, Robert Wickens probably not going to be back in the 6 because of his long road to recovery. There is the possibility of Scuderia Corsa, the sports car team, Ferrari sports car team, running full time. yeah, there's a lot of question marks. And there's probably a lot I'm skipping on that, but I'm tired right now and I'm crashing. We are at the almost an hour mark right now, so let's preview next week. Richmond coming up. Two under the lights short track races. The Friday night, the Go Bowling 250. That's a new title sponsor for that race. For the Xfinity Series. First race of their chase. And then Saturday night, the Federated Auto Parts 400 for the Monster Energy Cup Series. The second race in their chase. Truck Series is off for a month. Next race is Talladega. And then their schedule picks up pretty much for the rest of the year. Now your next, the short tracks division, NASCAR short tracks, the touring division's pretty busy because 3 of them are going to be in New Hampshire for a fantastic day of racing. The NASCAR Pinty's Canadian Series running their first event in the United States, running a 100-lap race at Loudon. And then the K&N East Series running a 125-lapper, the Apple Barrel 125. And then to cap the day off, a 250. I am sorry if I sounds like I'm slurring, but my mouth is dry. Yeah. Sorry about this, guys. The Musket 250 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The Whelen Modified Series. This is their Daytona 500. They put a lot of effort into this race. Please, if you're in New England or in the area and you're a race fan, please go to this event. Please support it. Please, please, please. The Touring Series really needs these events to do good. And if you're not in the area, the event will be broadcast. All 3 races will be broadcasted live on fanschoice.tv on Saturday. So please tune into that. So possibly NASCAR and the other divisions that use that website bring more racing for us live for free. Just a fantastic thing they got going on. K&N West is off for 2 weeks before they go to Idaho for the Napa Auto Parts Idaho 208 at the Meridian Speedway. A little flat quarter mile. The Peak Mexico Series is off for 2 weeks, running. Their next event is on the 30th, running at Autodromo de Chiapas, which I believe is a 3/4 D oval. Basically, it looks like a high banked Richmond. Off for a month is the Whelen Euro Series for their final event at Circuit Zolder. Off for 3 weeks is ARCA. Their next event is Lucas Oil Raceway. The makeup event, because that whole weekend got rained out. The Shore Lunch 200. And then 2 weeks' time, F1 will be at the Sochi Autodrome in Russia for the Russian Grand Prix. And then coming up in 4 weeks, the V8 Supercars with their next event at the Bathurst 1000. And then everything else looks like I got on here is ACT's off for a month. Cars Late Model Tour Cars does not run until November. That's pretty crazy. That's going to be kind of a cold one. And then IMSA's off until the Petit Le Mans on October 13th. That's pretty much what I got. And what the heck is this? And showing up on the
next events because I'm on Racing Reference's front page, Formula E, and apparently I've missed their schedule announcement. They're running Saudi Arabia. Okay. That event takes place, replaces the Hong Kong E-Prix, so,
That's very interesting. So, curious how that event runs. Apparently they haven't made the full schedule announcement yet, because they got 13 events, 12 rounds, and 2 of them are still TBA. They got Marrakesh, the third one scheduled for January 26th, but that is a TBA. And Mexico, Hong Kong, which moves to the 5th event of the season. China running a new street circuit, and Sanya, replacing the Beijing event. Rome, France running it. Paris, Monaco, Berlin at the Tempelhof street circuit. Switzerland, and New York City, Brooklyn. Yeah, apparently, Sao Paulo was supposed to event, but that event was removed. It was supposed to have happened last year, and is not on a provisional schedule for this year. And then Santiago was removed, and that's about it. And I am crashing, guys. This has been a long one. It's over an hour. Thank you for listening. Big news coming up next week. Our next week's podcast is hopefully something a little different. I'll keep it as a surprise. When it happens, it will probably run a little different format where I normally do, but there'll be plenty of shit talking. That's all I got to say. Anyways, thanks for listening. I'm probably going to go pass out and forget to do my laundry. Thank you for listening. This has been the...
I'm Francis Dorsey with a special offer from Dorsey Furniture. Buy any dining room for the holidays now and save 1/2 off. All Simmons Beauty Rest sleep products are 50% off. And for the football season or Christmas layaway, all recliners and motion furniture are half off. All this and you pay nothing till April of 1994. That's right. No interest, no down payment, and no payments for 6 full months. So hurry to Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A, East Holden.